Okay, I'll test it for my own so I know how loud to be. This seems pretty good. 50 seconds?
Yes.
This clock is
Slow.
slow.
Is this one off? That's annoying. We bought this because it was going to be like right on. It was supposed to be an atomic, like gets it from the internet clock, but it just doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It just doesn't.
Paula just updated the hour also.
Oh, well, I didn't even look at it. Great. So, yeah, it's about 30 seconds long. So it's not bad. That's fine.
I'll be under.
Yeah, and
You know, I'd rather be short and funny. Brevity is a soul of wit than expansive and intelligent.
you're not going to read. You're not going to read.
1 page per minute, right?
Could that one? Good morning, and happy Friday. So glad you're all here. I missed you all. I'm Phyllis Newbill. I'm the Associate Director of Youth and Community Education in the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts, which is one of several centers within ICAT. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started. We are streaming this morning, so we're live on the internet right now, and our experience will exist on the internet afterwards, so just make sure you're aware of that. There are muffins and bagels and coffee this morning, so please enjoy those. The reason that we are allowed to give you food is because we have a sign-in sheet, so make sure that you sign in on the sign-in sheet. And if PDN credit or Professional Development Network credit is helpful to you as a faculty member at Virginia Tech, check in with me, as you have done, and make sure that you get that credit. If you haven't signed up already, there's a QR code on the sign-in sheet, and you can also just sign in through TLOS. When you have questions today, if you're online, good morning. We're glad you're here online. If you have questions, use that questions link, and we'll get those and answer them. If you're in the room, just wait for us to get to you with the microphone so that the friends online will be able to hear us. Winnie is with us this morning. There's a little dog wandering around somewhere. She belongs here. It's all right. It's good. And in terms of announcements this morning, there's a really big event happening next Saturday at the Center for the Arts and at Newman Library. It's the Virginia Tech Science Festival. It's our 14th year, so it's going to be 14.
Did you say 14?
Yes, it's crazy. It's been 14 years. So be there for that. We've got a whole bunch of exhibitors, a lot of kids coming. Bring your kids, bring your parents, bring everybody. It'll be a great day. It's from 10 to 3. I hope you'll be there. There's also the call for volunteers is still open for that, so if you just want to be here and be a part of that and get one of those cool shirts, you can still sign up for that too. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Tanner Upthegrove, who is both ICAT and also ICAT grant recipient. And so Misregistration.
Thank you, Phyllis. Good morning. I'm going to start off with a quote by one of our team members. Davian Robinson says, "Dancing for someone who's blind, that's unheard of. Not many people know of blind dancers. So for me, this is to break through that barrier, to bring inclusiveness into a space that they have not seen before. The art of dance itself is oftentimes devoid of inclusion and accessibility. This void leaves individuals with disabilities on the sidelines, wondering and wishing they could express themselves with freedom, power, and utter joy." Thanks for joining me for talking about Misregistration. This has been an incredible project for me. I want to introduce our team, and I'm looking at this now. I'm really not that important. I'm just sleep deprived. That's why my name's on there twice. So there's a typographic error there. First of all, we have Agnieszka, Międlar, and Paul Cazeaux here. They're the leads of our team. Janet Biggs is the lead artist. Janet's based out of Brooklyn and is a fantastic video artist doing multi-video art installations and traveling around the world. Ethan Candelario is Virginia Tech and a motion graphics designer for this project. Charles Nichols, also Virginia Tech School of Performing Arts, composed new work for this project and performed as well. I'm Tanner, I'm the video and technical director, artist, and sound artist for this project. Vinson Fraley is a dancer, also based out of Brooklyn, and Joanna Kotze is also based out of Brooklyn and also one of our dancers. William Carter Roberts III, or Carter as we know him, a recent Virginia Tech graduate, composed original music for this work. Sarah Hammer was instrumental in helping fabricate and make physical things happen on this work. And Eva Desa was a technical artist that scanned rare artworks from the Bechtler Museum of Art and helped us capture those forever in a digital format. Davian Robinson, who I quoted earlier, is the lead choreographer and dancer for this project. And I would like to start out this talk by showing documentation from the performance we had on May 1st and 2nd in the Cube. And if it wasn't clear before, Davian, who's just a fantastic guy to work with, we've worked with him so many times, is visually impaired and has lost his sight as he's grown. So keep that in mind as you experience his incredible choreography. I need to mention Julia Basso, also with Virginia Tech, performed at the Cube performance. Yeah, that was a really nice encapsulation and culmination of the project. It really touched on the goals that we wanted to get, but there's a lot more to this project in terms of output. The name Misregistration for us is great because it means a lot of different things. If you do printing with ink, not 3D, I guess it could be with 3D too. If you have a printer and if you've ever noticed maybe the printer head is off alignment, you can get kind of a fuzzy output or things don't line up right. That is a kind of misregistration. Or if you're in computer engineering and you put data into memory slots and everything is off by 1, then things are misregistered. Likewise, in our society, sometimes we can make assumptions about others and that's incorrect. So I think that's what Davian is really talking about in that first quote, is not everyone knows Davian's blind, and not everyone knows Davian's a dancer, but he is incredible, and having spent a lot of time with him, I think the misregistration applies for him every day, so it's an important word for the team, and that kind of drove the core of the project. Because our team is comprised of visual artists, mathematicians, a sight-impaired dancer, we wanted to include a lot of components to this, and those were represented as the theatrical performance, which you saw part of, sonification of visual art. We worked closely with the Bechtler Museum of Modern Art in Charlotte, North Carolina. They encouraged us to take some pieces from their permanent collection and imagine what it would be like if Davian was a curator. How would someone that's visually impaired or perhaps had a different kind of disability explore and have access to these arts? We have an augmented reality book, which also follows in that theme. And what's really nice about the book, which we'll look at, gives the sort of experience of the visual impairment and incorporates some of the mathematical concepts we were talking about, specifically this idea of singular value decomposition, or SVD. And finally, Charles composed Moiré Fringe, which led he performed this piece with multi-channel loudspeakers performing with him, and then led the audience into the venue, kind of like a Pied Piper situation. So it was this nice welcoming to the space outside of the concert hall and then coming in. Another thing that we did early on was hosted a series of workshops that Davian has been doing for a long time. Part of this project, we wanted to explore things that Davian is interested in, like echolocation. What's it like to be a choreographer who is vision impaired? So this workshop, which I'll just let play in the background while I describe it, Davian and I worked in the Cube for a while to take what he's already doing and use the Cube's spatial audio system to augment that. We set up some things like acoustic barriers. So imagine if you're in this space called the Cube and there's speakers all around you. Close your eyes and walking around. As you get closer to a set of speakers, you'll hear a sound. It gives you acoustic cues. Hey, I'm near a boundary, or there's something here. So we're encouraging folks to use their ears, use their bodies, sort of embody what it's like to be visually impaired. Some of the feedback we got from this workshop was, this changed my life. I had no idea that hearing was so powerful and useful. And we see Davian leading folks through a variety of exercises. Some are blindfolded, some are not. There's a lot of trust involved. You could be working with a partner that you don't know, and they're guiding you around the room, sometimes sprinting. But anecdotally, being in the room, I could hear the joy and laughter and exhilaration of experiencing something that maybe someone has never done before, especially having someone lead you around a room blindfolded at a full sprint. This workshop has been done several more times, and we have more requests to do it again. Let's look at some of the other outcomes of this project. In the top left corner, you'll see video of the Cube performance playing. In the bottom right, there's a video of Davian at the Bechtler in Charlotte, and he's performing with one of the sculptures there called the Firebird. You'll notice that the Firebird has this beautiful, lustrous quality from all the mirrors to it, which inspired our costumes. I mean, I do love this coat, but I don't wear it every day, unfortunately, but maybe I should. So all the performers' costumes were inspired by this art. We really used the art from the Bechtler to drive some of the themes in this work. On the bottom left, this is one of the sculptures called The Garden. This is by Barbara Hepworth, and you can see a picture of the actual sculpture on the right. It's green, it's really large. It's probably 5 feet tall, maybe a little bit bigger than that. And Eva Desse, who we mentioned earlier, went to the Bechtler and took a 3D scan of this art and a few other pieces of art. Eva used a laser sensor called a LiDAR to scan it in high detail. This, and there were 2 other pieces of art that were scanned, including a Picasso. We have this rich data set from the scan now, and we wanted to turn this into other modes of experience. So I worked with Eva and took the data and transformed it into sound in a process called sonification. On the bottom left, you see a picture from the software that I work with a lot. This is taking the data points from the LiDAR scan and putting it into a software called Max, where we could represent that shape in 3D. And for each one of those dots, I applied a sound to it based on the color or the texture. And in this case, I was using sounds of Davian tap dancing in the Bechtler, so it had this sort of inside, outside, inside loop feeling to it. This work and the other works were installed in the Cube for about a day. And I want to show you another imagining of that artwork. So during the dance performance, those 3 artworks were embodied by the performers, which was sort of, I mean, is incredibly Herculean for them to assemble that shape and hold it for many seconds. And one more outcome of the project was this AR book. Again, Ethan Candelario and Atlas Vernier helped with this a lot. This really integrated the SVD heavily as part of the experience. So on the right, you see a picture of singular value decomposition being used in image compression. So this is a technique you can take an image and reduce it down into a smaller file size. We used it creatively to have an image on the tablet that you see, and the tablet kind of looks like it goes in and out of focus using this SVD process. It starts out fuzzy, and then the words sort of emerge so you can read them, and it's also read aloud. And the idea here is, if you experience what Davian experienced in a very short period of time, losing his sight — I think he started losing his sight when he was a teenager, and then as a young man it was mostly gone — this would be like a rapid experience of what he went through. Additionally, there was a physical book with 3D printed braille, so as you took the tablet and hovered it over the book, the image in the book is what was getting decomposed in real time. And then the text would come up and you would hear the word, and if you read braille, you could feel it and understand that way as well. So it's a lot to unpack. This is a really exciting project because there's so many facets to it. I mentioned that we did the performance in the Cube in May. We were fortunate to receive additional funding through the Bechtler Museum of Modern Art and through the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative to do the performance at the Bechtler. The Bechtler also hosted Janet's work as well as Misregistration, plus another project that this team had done called Hidden Within, in the entire fourth floor of the museum. So we were really lucky to be able to show our work a lot at the Bechtler. The performance was one night. You can see in the top left, Charles performing Moiré Fringe outside in Charlotte. It was about 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Everyone was really eager to get inside. But the turnout was incredible. On paper, they say we had 150, but I'm convinced it was more like 200. So imagine 200 people, downtown Charlotte, 5 o'clock, sweating and listening to some great music, coming inside, and then seeing the performance piece that you saw. That also kicked off the opening of the fourth floor installation of all these works. And I just got information yesterday that we had over 5,000 visitors come through between July and September. So that's for me, that's a huge amount of visitors to see the work. And that included all 3 sonification pieces with the real art. So you could go in the room and see the actual Hepworth sculpture, the garden, and then hear it, as well as the Picasso on the wall, and listen to it. And there was another work that you wore headphones to hear. The AR books were on full display, and the Hidden Within piece, plus a few other of Janet's works were on display. So it was a huge installation. So to kind of conclude, I'd like to show some documentation from that, just to get a different flavor of how the piece existed and was received. Again, this wouldn't be possible without support from the Bechtler Museum of Modern Art, the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative, and of course, the Institute for Creativity, Arts, and Technology. Thank you very much.
One of the most fun things about ICAT is that your mind gets blown like twice a week. Thank you, Tanner. What questions do we have in the room? Heading your way.
Hi, Tanner. This is one of my favorite projects ever. I mean, I love many ICAT projects, but this one was really amazing. I was wondering how it started. Was it with the image of the car, then who started it? And also, once someone had that idea, how long did it take until you had something you could perform and show? Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. When I had the team credits up at first, you may have had deja vu because this team has worked together before. We had received funding from the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative for a project called Hidden Within, and we're exploring encoding signals with other signals in a variety of ways and using different media to express that. So that piece had a table with water that would vibrate that had encoded signals on it. So I think a deep underlying theme of this are things like Moiré pattern, this singular value decomposition, and exploring these really complicated mathematical principles in ways that are accessible but also interesting with art. So really, I think we're taking these ideas and trying to interpret them in different ways that made sense to us or maybe didn't. A lot of it is really exploration. And I don't think Janet had a lot of great vision and ideas about how to execute things. For example, there was some strobing happening in the performance in the cube that was easy to see, and that's sort of representing some of the math principle, especially the Moiré pattern that we talked about. There's this stroboscopic effect. Plus these interference patterns when sound and light interfere together that make different effects, like a beating pattern with sound, which is something that can actually make a person sick if you hear it, if the frequencies are slightly off. Which we didn't want to do that to anyone, but we tried to do that in some of the composition and in the movement. So I don't think I'm fully answering your question. If either of you would like to.
So first of all, I think the whole project here is really an encompass of the collective work and collaborative work. So myself and Paul, we met Janet actually when we were here, when we were already in the different institutions. So we collaborated with Janet in the past. And our collaboration started actually during the COVID. So we spent a lot of time talking. And I think we had this long conversation. We came here and ICAT was perfect. We had the cube, we had all the support that we could use for all the ideas that we had in the past, but we didn't have physical space and so on. So we started to work on several projects with ICAT team, in particular with Tanner, and we got involved in more conversation. So I think one is really spend time with collaborators to explore, to understand each other's field, and then bringing those amazing people that ICAT has access to. So there is a group of amazing students and technical stuff and so on, and they all have fantastic ideas. They want to put their stamp on the project if they're a composer or they're graphic designer and so on. So I think we have been extremely lucky to bring together people who became also great friends through those projects, and we want to keep working together. One comment that I make, like Tanner had some news already, this project is living its life beyond. It will be shown in Geneva in some part. It's possibly going to allow us to do some publication, publish a book, and it's living and it's coming. The more we show it, the more feedback we get and the more interest. So I think this is amazing because we can work as a team together.
Wonderful project, absolutely gorgeous. I was curious, it seems like you have a duality, right, of trying to convey some of the experiences of visual impairment to those that aren't experiencing it, but as well as creating something that is considering all audiences and modalities and so forth. What's the reception been like with people who might have visual impairments and so forth?
At the Bechtler performance, several visual impaired friends of Davian's near Charlotte, and they came and they were blown away. They loved the performance, they loved the installation, and continuing Agnieszka's point, the Lion Society, not the Lions Club near Charlotte, they help mostly visually impaired, but anyone with a disability find work. They want to have this work shown as an installation there. So I think that this really is resonating a lot with especially the visually impaired community. Anecdotally, again, my dad lost his sight in the past few years, and he lives near Charlotte, so I brought him, and he was blown away. He's not often moved. He's kind of an engineer type, but he was really moved by this performance and what the team was doing.
And I will comment, we had these workshops which gathered also number of faculty, number of students. One of the faculty member was a faculty from architecture, and he was so inspired that actually he worked with Davian to do similar things in exploring in the architecture. Our students who were there, they were like, now we understand more. There is a discussion going on campus how we make our teaching accessible, and then that made us also, exploring the AR and other facilities, how we can use this amazing technology, amazing other forms that, our colleagues in the arts and visual arts are specialists on to convey. And we have been thinking about different disabilities. What are the other obstacles, and how to make this, the art, the math, everything which we want to convey to the broad society and people which may not have opportunity to experience. We were talking about smell. If we can, that will be also something. So there is a lot of ideas, but it wouldn't be possible without, amazing people around.
We are at time, so I want to thank you all, and I hope you'll continue the conversation. Thank you so much. I hope you'll continue the conversation as we continue to enjoy muffins and bagels and coffee. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place, more things to munch on and drink, and more mind-blowing presentations. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, have a great weekend.